It becomes a commodity.
A commodity?
Mm.
And do you think people are actually paying for it?
No, I think this is simply like if you just typed in mud and water, you'd probably got, we can find you the best prices on mud and water, you know. It's funny that they just take whatever it is you've typed in and make it into a commodity, but it just struck me rather ironic because it makes it sound as though spiritual clarity is something like a commodity. You know, you can buy a box of it or
like buy a bottle of water. A bottle of water and well,
Yeah.
actually, and that doesn't sound too far from what many people are doing now.
Yeah.
People are actually getting water, and I even have it myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the filter water in the filter, the jar,
Yeah.
and in that you write whatever you want. You could write love, abundance, peace, joy, prosperity. And someone was telling me last night, I was talking to someone on the phone, and that this lady actually grabs the water and she says, oh, this water is so good for my body. This water is going to be excellent for my body, and drink it.
Oh, okay.
Because remember that experiment in The Secret? Did you watch the movie The Secret?
No, I didn't actually see that movie, no.
You didn't?
No.
In where actually when you talk to the water, the cells within the water changes. Have you heard about it?
I have heard about that, yes. I don't know whether anybody's ever explained the mechanism by which that happens.
So
But I
scientifically.
mean, there are so many. Because I think Veronica was talking about that at one point.
Right, and so when you told me about the spiritual clarity and what is called the prices, where you get the cheapest prices
Yeah,
or
that is a commodity, yeah.
commodity, I thought, oh yeah, so I'm sure that if someone says I want to have clarity, that people are willing to pay.
Well, I mean, it is treated in a commodity in the sense, not in so gross a sense as, you know, buying a box full of it, but people do seem to be saying, well, you know, listen to my words, and then you can I can teach you spiritual clarity, or I can tell you the steps to take to reach spiritual clarity. That's I suppose you see that quite commonly.
And from last week, I was thinking of the spiritual clarity, and I actually have done a little bit of writing, twice writing. And I'm thinking, like, what would be the benefit to have a spiritual, or clarity in general? Because clarity, the opposite of clarity will be confusion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens when we're confused?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. What happens when we're confused?
Yes.
What happens when we don't see clearly? What is it we're supposed to be seeing when we see clearly?
Yeah,
and what is it that we're supposed to be confused about?
Yes. What are we supposed to
Is this a little bit like,
I
think, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. The only thing we can be confused about is confusion.
So,
but on the other hand, you know, it does seem to the only thing we can be clear about is clarity itself. And I think that's what some of I think that quotation from Merton is one.
Would you like to read
it? A beautiful example of this, where he says that we're living in a world that is absolutely transparent, and God is shining through it all the time. I mean, you know, how more clearly could you speak about clarity? Could you be any clearer about clarity?
If we live in a world where all there is God shining.
Is God shining through it? If the world is complete, what makes confusion in a spiritual sense is it would be an obstruction of our view, an obstruction of the light that shines through us, a diffusion of that light. Whereas if we can somehow allow that light to shine through us, the light is always there, and the universe is completely transparent. So we're going back to the kind of things, you know, that Meister Eckhart was talking about you know, if the ego, if we stand in our own shadow, so to speak, and complain that it's dark, or that you know, God won't enter into our house if we're at home, if the ego is there, I think it all comes back.
So
to
what does that light look like? Like if I was to say, okay, so I'm going to let that light shine.
yeah, okay.
What,
So
what
does it look like?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you can't say what it looks like because you are the light. The only way you can say what it looks like is if you were an outside observer, but you can never be an outside observer if you understand this because you are the light.
So someone was asking in one of the emails that I received is like, how does it feel? And that's pretty much the question, the answer that you gave, David, because someone says, how does it feel to be connected to God, which is to be, to have the light shining, right? And he said, I don't know how it feels for you or to you. What it feels to me is, is joy and peace and serenity and calmness and. Right?
So then, and then, proceeds to find words that seem to fit that experience, and then we have the second quotation there, which sort of pulls the rug out from under those kind of
things. What does it say?
The Chinese philosopher says that great knowledge sees all in one.
The great knowledge.
Great knowledge sees all in one.
Okay.
Okay. Small knowledge breaks down into the many. So when if he is trying to explain to find words to express that what God means to him, that's breaking it down into the many. It becomes small knowledge in that way, and it's small knowledge in the sense that it's about this and that, about particular. Great knowledge is not about anything whatsoever. Great knowledge is being, not knowing this or knowing that. So the only reason, one might try to explain this kind of thing would be compassion, to try to help other people.
To understand, yeah.
But then again, if you the danger is letting that turn into a kind of dogma.
I like that. I really like when you said
a dogma.
David, I really like the clarification that you just made, that the only reason we want to explain, if we wanted to do it from that intention of compassion, of helping someone else understand, right? But because otherwise we wouldn't need to explain.
That's right.
Just to be it, show it, or leave it.
If people would just let the light shine through, we wouldn't need to explain. But because they and in fact all of us at times stand in our own light or raise a dust and complain we can't see, then we need compassionate words, so to speak, to, and paradoxically perhaps, to bring us around to seeing that the light is there all the time.
To explain, I really like it. Okay, so now let's go into, so when we are confused, it means, obviously, if we are confused, we don't have clarity, right? Because it is the opposite.
It seems to be the opposite.
It seems to be the opposite. And when we are confused, then we cannot let our actions be guided towards, getting our highest potential. I know, because I was saying to someone, you know what, I think we came, this is only one meaning, it's not, it's not the truth, but it's something that I feel like is